Imagine this: you wake up one morning, and the first thought in your mind is not about whether they texted you, whether they still love you, or whether they'll come back. Instead, your first thought is about who you are becoming today, what kind of energy you want to radiate, what kind of life you want to create. That's the real shift Neville wanted us to make. It's a shift from being controlled by the outer world to becoming the one who controls it by your inner assumptions. And I want you to notice something important. When you stop obsessing over them, you're not abandoning love, you're actually stepping into a higher form of love. Neville would say that love is not something you need to beg for, it's something you are. So when you embody love within yourself, the need to grip tightly disappears. You start shining it effortlessly, and suddenly, people are drawn to you. You become the magnet instead of the chaser. Now, let's make this very practical with an exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself a few months from now. In this vision, you're not worried about whether someone stayed or left. You're calm. You're secure. You're radiant. People respect you, love you, and want to be around you. Can you feel the difference in your body just by imagining that? This is what Neville meant by living in the end. It's not about waiting, it's about stepping into that version of yourself right now, even before anything changes on the outside. And here's something interesting. Neville often told stories of people who wrote to him, saying they let go of chasing, they focused on self, and suddenly things shifted. One woman shared that after months of begging her partner to return, she finally stopped. She began to imagine herself as loved and cherished, even if she didn't know who by. She walked through her days smiling, dressing up for herself, feeling radiant. And out of nowhere, her partner contacted her again, this time chasing her. When you change, the world must follow. So let me ask you, what would happen if you stopped chasing and instead started becoming? What would your life look like if you shifted that focus back onto yourself? When you truly focus on your self-concept, your inner image, you stop living in fear of losing someone. You realize that even if a person walks away, your imagination will always bring you exactly what you need. That's freedom. Now let's break it down into 3 steps you can actually practice. Step 1. Release them mentally. Don't keep watching their social media. Don't keep replaying their actions in your head. Neville said, "Don't discuss your dreams with others, live as though they were already true." That applies here. Stop feeding the state of lack. Step 2. Build your inner scene. Every night before bed, imagine one short, powerful scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. Maybe it's a wedding ring on your hand, maybe it's a hug from someone who adores you, maybe it's a simple, "I'm so happy for you," from a friend. Keep it short, keep it vivid, and repeat it until it feels real. Step 3. Become it in the day. Don't just imagine at night, carry that energy with you in the day. Walk with the confidence of someone who is already loved. Speak like someone who is secure. Choose for yourself like someone who matters. That's focusing on yourself, not on them. And here's the beauty of it. When you do this, something subtle happens. You stop caring about how or when it shows up. That's true letting go. It's not indifference, it's confidence. Confidence that the world must bend to your inner state, so you don't need to force it. Let me give you another example. A man once asked Neville about getting his ex-wife back. He couldn't stop calling her, couldn't stop begging her. Neville told him, "Do not go after her. Go within. Create the scene that implies she is already yours." The man did it. He stopped chasing. Instead, he imagined tucking his children into bed while she was in the kitchen preparing dinner. He imagined the simple feeling of family life. A few weeks later, she returned, not because he begged, but because his inner world had shifted, and she aligned with it. That's the law in action. You let them go out there, but you hold the state in here. You don't let the 3D world scare you, because it's only a shadow. And shadows always follow the light, you. Now I know some people ask, but what if I let them go, and they never come back? That fear is natural. But Neville would remind you, the universe doesn't deal in loss. The only thing you can ever lose is your state. If someone doesn't return, it's only because they no longer match the state you've risen into. And trust me, what does come will always be better, richer, and more aligned with who you are now. And that's why focusing on yourself is never wasted. Even if the exact person doesn't come back, the state you've entered will attract someone who does match it. You never lose by growing into love, confidence, and wholeness. You only gain. Now, let's take a moment for another guided practice. Sit comfortably, take a deep breath, and imagine this. You are walking down the street, and you feel so secure, so radiant, that people can't help but notice you. Someone you know smiles at you, maybe even the person you've been thinking about. You don't chase them, they come to you, effortlessly, naturally. Feel that for a moment. Let it sink into your body. That's what focusing on yourself does. It makes you magnetic without effort. This is why Neville insisted over and over. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not chase the feeling, not force it, assume it. Because once you assume it, you let it go. You live as though it's already true. And then, reality has to catch up. So, my friend, let them go. Stop holding on so tightly. Stop defining your worth by someone else's behavior. Focus on the one thing you can truly control: yourself, your inner state, your imagination. When you change that, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself in your favor. And here's the final reminder. Letting them go and focusing on yourself doesn't mean you lose love. It means you become love. And when you are love, you'll never lack it again. Whether it comes through the person you once wanted, or someone far better, it will come. Because that's the law. That's Neville Goddard. Imagine this for a moment. What if the very thing you've been chasing so hard, the person, the relationship, the approval, was actually slipping away because you were holding on too tightly? What if the secret was not in forcing, but in letting go and turning inward? That's where Neville Goddard comes in. With a teaching so simple, yet so powerful, it can completely shift your reality. And today, we're diving deep into his idea of letting them go and focusing on yourself, because in that act of release lies the true key to manifestation. Neville always taught that the world outside of us is nothing but a reflection of what's happening inside our consciousness. When we cling to someone or something, hoping they'll change, waiting for them to notice us, or needing them to stay, what we're really doing is affirming a state of lack. We're saying, "I don't have this yet. I need it. I must hold on." And in that state, the outer world mirrors it back to us: distance, resistance, or even loss. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you erase your desire. It means you stop tying your identity, your peace, and your joy to whether or not that person acts the way you want them to. You shift the focus back where it belongs, on you, on your inner state, on your imagination, which Neville called the true creative power of the universe. Think about it. If the outer world is only a shadow of your inner world, then why spend your energy chasing the shadow? Why not instead go to the source? Neville said, "Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live." That's not just poetry, it's law. The moment you begin to embody the state of being whole, loved, secure, the world must reflect it. And the people you once felt you had to hold on to will either return in harmony with your new state, or fall away because they no longer match the person you've become. Now here's where it gets educational. Neville didn't preach letting go in the sense of giving up. He preached letting go in the sense of detachment. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood ideas in manifestation. People often think it means abandoning your desire or pretending you don't want it. But Neville explained that true detachment is living in the end, imagining so vividly that your wish is already fulfilled, that you no longer crave or beg for it. You've let go of the struggle. You've stopped checking whether it's here yet, because in your imagination, it already is. So when it comes to a specific person, whether that's someone you love, someone you want back, or even someone whose approval you crave, the teaching is clear: let them go in the outer world, and hold them only in your imagination in the way you wish to experience them. And then, more importantly, focus on yourself. Ask, who do I need to become to naturally have the kind of love, respect, and harmony I desire? Because the truth is, you never really want the person, you want the state of being you believe that person will give you. Maybe it's love, maybe it's security, maybe it's excitement. Neville would say. Don't chase the symbol. Embody the state. Think of it like this. Imagine you're holding water in your hands, but your grip is too tight. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. Letting go doesn't mean you lose the water. It means you relax your hand so it can rest there naturally. That's what focusing on yourself does. You relax into your true power. You stop chasing. You stop resisting. And in that state of ease, the things and people that match your inner world naturally flow to you. Here's the practical side. Neville gave us a method called living in the end. Instead of worrying about how or when someone will return, you close your eyes and imagine the feeling of already having what you want. Not the waiting, not the trying, but the having. If it's a relationship, you might imagine lying in bed at night, hearing their voice saying, "I love you." You might feel the weight of their arm around you. You don't beg for it, you assume it. And then you let it go, because your imagination has already done the work. And this is where focusing on yourself becomes life-changing. When you let go of obsessing over someone else's actions, you create space to actually grow. You step into the version of yourself who is magnetic, confident, and whole. That energy is irresistible. Neville said, "You attract what you are, not what you want." So the real question is, who are you being today? Are you being someone desperate for love? Or are you being love itself? Letting them go doesn't mean shutting the door forever. In fact, it often does the opposite. Because when you stop radiating need and start radiating wholeness, people feel that shift. They sense the calm. They sense the certainty. And either the person you desired aligns with that energy and comes back naturally, or someone even better steps into your life. That's why Neville always emphasized focusing on the self first. Because the outer world cannot help but mirror it. Now, here's something you might not realize. When you let go, you're not actually losing control, you're stepping into true control. Because trying to manipulate someone's behavior is powerless. But stepping into the state where you already have what you want, that's power. That's creation. Neville's teachings weren't about forcing the 3D world to bend through effort. They were about realizing the 3D world is only a delayed reflection of your inner assumptions. Change your assumptions, and reality has no choice but to follow. And let's make this real. Suppose you're holding on to someone who doesn't text back, who doesn't give you the attention you crave. Your natural instinct might be to chase, to ask, to beg. But Neville would say stop. Drop the outer struggle. Instead, close your eyes, feel what it would be like if they couldn't stop reaching out, if you were already in a secure relationship. Rest in that feeling. And then shift the focus. Don't sit by the phone waiting. Go live. Go expand yourself. Go become the version of you who naturally receives love without begging for it. That's how letting go and focusing on yourself works. It's not passive, it's deeply creative. The truth is, the greatest gift you can give yourself and others is freedom. When you release someone from your desperate grip, you give them freedom to show up in harmony with your desire, instead of in resistance to your need. And you give yourself the freedom to grow, to imagine, to embody the life you truly want.